Morning, martial artist. Jim Adkins here from Jim Adkins Kempo Karate Association and 26 Moves Self-Defense Systems. I got a bold statement for you, and you've heard it or you haven't heard it, doesn't matter. My martial art is better than yours. That's a provocative statement, and there's only a half truth there. And there's a lot of truth there if you want to dig deeper. I'll try not to take too much of your time because I know that your time is valuable. But this is something I wanted to talk about because you see, and I don't want to be disrespectful. I'll try to keep because when I get off on a tangent, sometimes I can be that way too. If you don't know who I am, my background, I've been a martial artist for 46 years now this month. I'm a 10th degree black belt in American Kempo under Grandmaster Larry Tatum. And I've studied the IKKA, the NCKKA, and through the LTKKA. I've got a subsequent black belts in ninjutsu, and I've studied Kung Fu for a long time. Okay, so I've been teaching for a very long time, and I've seen trends come and go. Now, all of what I just told you about myself is neither here nor there till we get into the meat and potatoes of what I want to say today. And you can tell me what you think. Please tell me what you think. I'm not talking about disrespectful, unpersonal comments. If those things come up, you're out of here. If you've got something to say, please let's talk about it. Let's get this out there. I've seen a couple of videos that touch on this, and they do a really good job. It's just something that I needed to say today. You get people that are young, for lack of a better term, in the martial arts world, who, bless their hearts, you have to believe in your system. If you don't, why are you studying it? So you get people out there saying, well, mine's better than yours and this is better than that. And then you get to people, no system's better than any system. They're all the same. And that's not true. You get people out there who study sometimes the only thing that's available to them. This happened when I was younger. There wasn't a lot of martial artists around that were teaching at the time back in the late 70s. And you get what's in your area, right? And I was lucky that I stumbled across an incredible martial artist back in those times and got to study the Kempo system. I was very lucky. I didn't know it at the time, but now I look back and I do. So let's just say you're locationally challenged at times for your training. So you jump in and you start training. If you don't fully believe that what you're training is the shit, why are you training? So you convince yourself, your Sifu or your sensei convinces you that this is the best, and you got to watch out for that. You got anybody in the dojo saying that we are better than so and so and so and so. You've got to take that with a grain of salt, and it's not about that. So let's real quickly. Instead of talking about the people that run around and say that, because there are a ton of you, a ton of you out there that might do that. Excuse me. Let's talk about what actually makes one martial arts system better than another. Is it possible? Yeah, it's possible. In my opinion, these are just my humble opinions. Okay, you let me know what you think too, and I'll post this on some places, see if I can't get some feedback. And in martial arts, you always run the gambit, right? There's going to be some keyboard warrior out there somewhere who wants to mouth off. We'll see what happens. So I've got notes, so I didn't ramble too much. But as a martial art is subjective to the person looking at it or experiencing it. So if you take the word art itself, and in my system, and I can only speak directly with my system about any details, but with my system, 26 moves, it's not really a art system. My Kempo system, the LTKKA, based through the NCKKA and the IKKA, when I took all of that, what I chose to do with it was separate it in my many years of experience and teaching into the art, the science, and the self-defense. All three are different, and all three exist in my Kempo. Some Kempo, it doesn't exist, and that's not because Kempo is the same across the board. However, Kempo has the same baseline. It's a perpetual art that is chosen, whether on purpose or by accident, to grow. And it does with good instruction. So my art is subjective to when other people see it. How does it make you feel? How do you look? That's the artistic expression part of it. Okay, so let's take out art for a minute. Let's just take that word. Let's change it to style or system. And let's just pick on Kempo for a minute. A lot of people like to pick on Kempo. What makes Kempo better than some arts? And I'll tell you what made it better for me. When I started studying Kempo, I got my black belt in Kempo, and I was asked to go study other arts before I continued in that rank. So I went out and I touched on a lot of things. And I was in the Phoenix, Arizona area, Region 4, California, Phoenix, Nevada, and all those areas when I sparred and was in tournaments. And what I did was I got to study Taekwondo, Aikido, Sorin-Jiru, Wado Kai, all types of martial. Did I say Aikido? Aikido was fun, but Combato. I went to a lot of different places. I even went to a couple other Kempo people, and what I discovered through all of that was that there were all some similarities, but nothing matched Kempo for what I was looking for. Herein lies the key term for what makes one system better than another. One possible thing that makes it better. What I was looking for. What I was looking for was self-defense, practical, real, applicable self-defense. I wasn't looking for the sport. I wasn't looking for the art. I studied some Kung Fu, and I loved the Kung Fu guys in Phoenix. They would go out and play wushu in the park, and I would get to do that with them. And it was physically the most demanding, fun thing I ever got to do. And as far as an art goes, the best, in my opinion. In my world, that's, to me, was martial arts. And when you see the movies and those are the type of physical things you want to learn to do. Kempo just had more common sense self-defense for me. So I ended up back in Kempo and stayed there and studied. So number one thing I think that will make one system better than another will be what you're looking for. What do you want from that system? Now, the new students may not know exactly. They may come in thinking they want to kick some butt, or they want to, self-defense is always, when I ask people, why are you here? Self-defense is an 80% answer. Self-defense. I'm here for self-defense. I'm here for betterment. I'm here for discipline. I'm here for self-discipline. And the parents are here to put their kids in because they want them disciplined. Well, we don't discipline kids. We teach them self-discipline. Now, some of us. Okay. So the one thing that could make a system better than another is, what are you looking for? What purpose does it serve? There are many systems that are in existence that were developed thousands of years ago for situations that were occurring in those people's lives at that time that may not be applicable in today's standards or society directly. It doesn't mean what's behind the teaching is not applicable, and I'm going to get to that. But the style itself may not be applicable. So if that's what you're looking for, please, that makes that system better than another system might be for you. So to answer the question, what makes one system better than another? Let's say one of the answers is, what are you looking for? What purpose does it serve? Okay, let's move forward with that. Many arts or styles or systems were developed specifically for one region or whatever was based on that time. Does that mean they didn't grow? No, that does not mean that. Martial arts systems throughout time have done one of two things. I know this is going to sound silly, but one of they've either grown or they haven't grown. There is a traditionalist style of system or a group of people, traditionalist, and then there's the eclectic martial artist. Now, there are bleed over where some will do a little of the other, but if you want the traditional art, you're looking for a traditional instructor. And what makes that art better than an eclectic art? It happens to be what you're looking for. You're not going to get the great traditions from an eclectic art. There might be some still left in there, but as that grows, there's a Chinese proverb: you take a barrel of wine, add a drop of shit, you got a barrel of shit. Not that non-traditional arts are shit, but in a traditional sense, you got it? Go the other way. Let's say you're not looking for ancient traditional martial ways, but you want to touch on it and you want to grow a little bit. Well, there are a lot of arts that perpetually grow. who have been mixing arts with other arts for centuries, for years, for decades. Does that make them a mixed martial art? No. And the only reason I say it that way is because mixed martial arts has its own little corner now, right? But real martial artists have been doing it for years. What have they been doing? Have they been just hodgepodging, picking things to throw into their? Well, some of them might, but other arts may have decided that, hey, as we grow, we should maybe do this. Why? Because situations on the street are changing. So now we got a self-defense art that looks at its ancient ways and says, look, this was fantastic back then. People don't fight that way anymore. How are we going to address today's situation? We're going to add a little bit of this. We're going to change. We're going to make it up on our own. We're going to take some boxing. We're going to take some fencing. We're going to take whatever, and we're going to put it in our art. Oh, look at this. Aikido and jujitsu or Chin Na, Kung Fu has this. Let's add that to our stuff and see what happens. That perpetuates your art. So does that make your system better because you've taken a bunch of stuff and put it in there? No. What's the number one thing? The number one thing, in my opinion, and I'll get off of here, that makes one system better than any other system? The instructor. Period. If you've got an instructor who has put time in, and I'm not talking about video time. I'm not talking about learning on YouTube and going in the cage and laying down a couple of things here or opening a school or even writing a book these days. If you've got an instructor who's actually put the time in on the floor, in seminars, traveled around and actually met other martial artists, fought in tournaments or even just attended a tournament. You don't have to fight in a tournament to be great, but attended tournaments and met other martial artists and now has a deep understanding of not only the art, the science, and the self-defense behind what they do, but the reasoning that every person comes to them for training. When you find an instructor who has that depth of knowledge, it makes their system better than one who doesn't. Now, you can argue same system. No. Same baseline, same basic idea, same simple moves, maybe. Depth of understanding. That makes one system better than another. Where do you find it? Respect your elders, people. There are a ton of advanced martial artists still living right now that as you lock yourself into a room or thought process that these old guys don't have anything for you, you're missing out. Reach out to these people before they're gone. They're treasures. You know, I might be old and I ain't that old, but they're still around. And maybe if you're lucky, they'll accept you as a student, because I know, like me, we don't accept just any bozo. I told you I try not to be disrespectful. I apologize for that. Please do your research. And unfortunately, if you're locked in a location where you can't study with the person you want, online training is always available. Today, better than anything else. However, you will not, in my opinion, be capable of achieving a true black belt. And that's not buying one or getting one. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about becoming a real black belt, becoming truly what it takes to do that. You can't do it online. You can't. I know there's some wonderful advantages to doing it this way, but you're going to have to get in front of that teacher. You're going to have to get that teacher in front of you. You're going to have to physically put in some work as well as some mentally and emotionally, spiritually. I hope this poked a few people. I hope it provoked the right people. I hope that I get some feedback. And if I wasn't clear, which sometimes I'm not, I will come back on and try and do more of this, or answer the comments as they come up. So, can one system be better than another? You tell me. I love you. Until next time, martial artists, on your mark, get set, grow. Be respectful.